Welcome to the 60 Plus Podcast.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Joe. Happy New Year, Janet.
Happy New Year.
We didn't say Happy New Year in the last episode that dropped on New Year's Day. Yes.
Well, better late than
I
never.
know. So that's why I made sure to say it now.
Well, that's lovely of you. It's
I'm
a
a
little
lovely
late,
person.
but okay.
Better late than never. I'm a
Yep.
lovely person. And,
Yes.
I saw the error of my ways and I corrected.
Well, good for you, Joe.
You didn't.
Well, I think I was just forced to.
Yes, you were.
Whether I like it or not.
What are we talking about today, Janet?
Hips and knees and knees and hips and hips and knees.
Hips don't lie.
Your hip bone's connected to your knee bone.
No, it's not. Jeez, where did you learn your biology or anatomy or
whatever it is?
Why are we talking about hips and knees?
Well, why not?
Good enough. All right.
I mean,
if that's going to be the criteria that we use for what we talk about every
we
week.
can talk about anything.
Sure.
Well, no, honestly, if you think about it, knees and hips replacements. That's what, we're talking about knee and hip pain and who gets it and why and when do you need to be concerned or how can you avoid it?
Mm-hmm.
And
did you choose to ignore the fact that I raised my hand?
I see you. I'm trying to ignore you. It's very difficult when you're like right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't done, ooh, Mr. Carter. Wasn't that from that?
No. That was Horseshack.
Oh, was it?
It was Horseshack.
Wasn't it Mr. Carter?
Mr. Carter was the teacher.
Yeah, I
Arnold
know.
Horseshack was the Mr.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a job one time where someone took a cast picture of Welcome Back, Kotter
Mm-hmm.
and replaced my picture where Juan Epstein's picture was in the cast, and nobody noticed. It was my picture from college where I had a giant afro. Yeah. So I wasn't the Arnold Horseshack guy.
Wow, how
I was
far they fall,
Juan
huh?
Epstein.
From afro to...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
I'll show you pictures of me in college.
Yeah, I know. It's quite alarming. I was almost as big as my hair coming from New Jersey with my what did you used to call it? Perm.
A perm?
Yeah, that was really big way back when.
I'm going to correct you.
What?
My afro was much bigger than your hair.
Yeah, probably it was. Okay, anyway.
All right, so hips and knees.
Hips and knees and knees and hips. So we are going to be talking about that because people in our age group often face this decision whether they should have a hip or knee replacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Approximately 75% of knee replacement patients in the U.S. are over the age of 65.
Which is not surprising.
No, it's not. And it's been increasing as well. So for total knee replacements, I think a lot of us are kind of facing into this at some point. Why not talk about, well, how you go down this journey of knee and hip health and what you can do, first of all, hopefully to prevent that knee and hip replacement, or how do you decide maybe it might be time and what it's like? What are the expectations for that?
I would say maybe 15-ish years ago, I had a conversation with a guy who had a really bad knee.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, a knee replacement's in my future. And I said, well, why are you waiting? He said, because the procedure just gets better and better and better all the time.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Yeah.
It really has gotten so much better.
Yeah, a lot less invasive and
the recovery is better. And the results are better. They're able, with the imaging they have now is so much better than it was 15 or 20 years ago.
Right.
That whatever they replace your knee with is much more tailored to you.
Right. And, that affects the revision rates. 15% of individuals between the age 60 and 69 may require some revision surgery after the initial knee replacement. I guess, some people
some
in
of
their
those
40s
might have been older hip replacements.
Yeah. So I would imagine that revision rate will probably continue to go down.
I agree. I think so.
As it gets perfected.
It really is amazing. Now, do you know anyone that's had a knee or hip replacement?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what was their experience?
Well, I know somebody who's had a partial knee
replacement.
And I guess it's gone Well, but I also know somebody who is resistant to the idea and basically lives in pain.
Are they just a fraidy cat?
Yeah, yeah. Just a fraidy cat. Well, it is kind of scary. I mean, let's
It
face it,
is.
like every operation's scary. And of course, there's always that fear that it doesn't go well. But
You're such a
I
Debbie
think
Downer.
I didn't say it wouldn't go well, but I'm just saying that they'd rather live at this pain that, and in theory, I guess, is never really going to go away and is never going to really
Well,
get
maybe it's just
better.
not bad enough yet.
It's not quite bad enough yet.
That's one of the criteria that how do I decide whether I'm going to have the
Right.
surgery or not?
Yes.
And you go through all of the preliminary things. You do physical therapy. You
Yeah.
might do cortisone shots,
Right.
strength training.
All those things.
all
I
of
mean,
those
there are
things.
things that they recommend that you do, like engaging in regular exercise. Walking is a good one, swimming, cycling to keep the joints healthy without causing any excessive strain. And then, of course, we know that weight bearing exercises and walking is good for bone density,
hmm
right?
hmm
So that's good all around. So good for joints as well. Strength training, resistance exercise to build muscle strength helps to stabilize the knee and the hip joints.
Right.
So, that's something that's recommended. Maintaining a healthy weight, of course, because you're putting strain if you have excess weight.
All of that weight, so much of your body weight is above your hips
Yeah,
and above your knees, even
right.
that
So,
every time you take a step.
right. So if you lose weight, that can help alleviate that joint pain.
hmm
Good posture is another thing. Yeah,
I'm,
you
I'm,
just sat up.
I just sat up straighter.
Standing and sitting
I
with
was
proper
actually sitting up
alignment.
pretty well.
Yeah. Well, also it's not just that, but things like yoga, of course, and
hmm
Pilates can help improve that. It's not like, oh, I have bad posture and I have to live with it. You can actually correct, do things to correct that.
Yeah, to a great degree, I think
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Sure. Good shoes.
Good shoes.
Good shoes make a big difference.
It's funny. It's like
And I
I've
think
had,
women have harder time with this than men.
well, maybe not so much like now that we live sort of in the sneaker kind of world, right? Where it's like much more acceptable that
How many pairs of high heels do you have?
0.
Really?
Well, that's not true. I
Oh,
mean,
you do.
I have them for special occasions,
Exactly. I have
but I
0, and I
don't
never.
wear them on a regular basis.
No, but
No, I do not.
well, I'm just saying, men never wear them.
If I try to wear like those spiked heels, I'd look like a newborn fawn trying to walk. It just doesn't go with me. That's not me, Joe.
No, I know it's not you, but I'll stand by what I said. I think it's harder for women to have good supportive shoes than it is for men.
I think less so these days because we've crossed into that comfort,
Well, we're just going to
culture.
disagree on this,
Yes,
Janet.
well, listen, I'm a woman and I know about these things. The other thing is that I've hurt my feet before for one reason or another, or dancing or whatever. And I'll tell you, there's shoes like Allbirds, right? They're so supportive and so comfy.
hmm
And they're kind of styling too. Like it doesn't have to be you have to wear orthopedic shoes. You can still have stylish shoes without
Sure.
and comfort too.
All right. Other exercises besides strength training are flexibility and balance
Yeah,
exercises.
back
are
to
good.
yoga, right?
Yep.
And then two, they suggest maybe you could take supplements. I know that I can never pronounce this supplement. There's one that's particularly good for joints, but that's something that you want to
So
talk
you're not even
to.
going to try? Like, just going to make.
CoQ10? No, that's not the one. I can't remember. No, I'm not going to even try.
Okay.
Avoid high impact activities like that running on
Mm.
hard surfaces.
hmm
So you're almost better off like walking outside on, say, sand than you would be to run inside on a treadmill or on the
Okay.
pavement
Well, I think running is
in
one of
general
those
is
high
probably
impact
tough. Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And you are not going to believe this last tip.
Consult healthcare
No,
professionals.
well,
Oh.
definitely you want to do that.
Well,
And
that's the last
that's
one.
a blanket statement that we're going to say for
We
this
are not.
entire
We are
episode.
not medical
We are not
professionals.
trained. We are just using very valid and credible sources for this information that we're sharing. But here's the one: stay hydrated. because it helps maintain the lubrication of joints, supporting overall joint health. Oh my God. I feel like we've been talking about drinking water in the last 20 episodes.
Drinking water is the new yoga.
Yeah. It's like, just drink water. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So those are the things that you can do.
Is it glucosamine? Is that what you?
Glucosamine.
Mhm.
Thank you. So those are the things that you can do to hopefully stave off this potential problem with your joints and knees and hips and
I've also heard that fish oil is good for
yeah,
joints.
omega 3s and
Mhm.
6s and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Yeah.
So
So
that's what you
what
can.
if
What if
we're
what?
beyond that? We're already dealing with the pain. We're already suffering.
And I just want to say, I mean, my knees get a little stiff, but it's not.
Oh,
y-
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I just want to point out to our listeners that we're not talking about this because either one of us feel we're in this category.
No,
No.
no. I think my hip will probably go before my knee does, just from all the dancing that I've done over the years. But
Okay.
that's just a theory.
It's a theory.
It's a theory.
Is it a prediction?
I'd like to say that nothing is going to go, and I'm going to keep my hips and knees for the remainder of my life, which will hopefully be very long.
Okay.
However, if you are in this state where you're like, should I go for an operation? There's definitely things you have to assess, right? And that has to do with pain, has to do with mobility, has to do with your quality of life. So, Joe, how do you
Janet.
decide what do you think might be the reasons why you should not put this off?
If it's affecting the quality of your life,
Mm-hmm.
if
Persistent pain. for
persistent
sure.
pain when you're inactive, even
Yeah.
swelling, that kind of thing.
Or limiting your activities
w-
like
That's
climbing stairs,
quality
you
of
know.
life. If
Yeah.
you can't walk around the block,
You can't get out of your chair.
you can't get down to the cafe to have your 4 ounces of red wine every day. I'm calling back to our Blue Zone episode where
Oh, right. Yeah.
people would, they
Yeah. Okay. Well, be specific because sometimes you do those like very subtle little callbacks.
I'm
And
the
I'm like,
king of
what are you
subtlety.
talking about? I don't remember that. But the other thing is that the pain relief medications are not working.
And you can't do those forever.
No, and no.
No.
No. Probably not a good, your liver would not be happy with that.
And I think people have different tolerances for pain, but I think everybody has their own level at which they say, I can't live with this
take it
I
anymore.
can't do this anymore.
When the threat is bigger than the fear, then you will make a change.
Okay.
So I think in this case, the threat is the horrible pain that you're living with, that you're going to continue to live with. If that is bigger than the fear of actually going through the surgery and the perception around the recovery, then you might say, yeah, it's time.
I have a good friend who, two different friends. One who had
You have two friends? Oh, that's so nice, Joe. Are they real or imaginary?
They're not here.
Oh,
Ah.
good comeback.
One who had a total knee replacement and one who had, within 6 months, had each hip done.
Wow.
And they're both very glad that they did it.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of people, most people probably know that recovery from knee surgery is more challenging and
Than hip.
longer than hip.
Yeah.
My friend
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
my friend that had hip surgery, after her first hip surgery, 3 weeks to the day of the surgery, we walked 3 miles that day. 3
Yeah.
weeks to the day.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I was very impressed.
Yeah. So back to what are the key indicators that it might be time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The persistent pain, the resting discomfort.
That's what I said.
So in other words,
Mm-hmm. You weren't listening when I said it, were you?
oh yeah, I sometimes don't listen to you. Chronic inflammation and swelling.
Yep, said that too.
You did not. You said none of these things.
I said swelling. Yes.
Joint deformity. Did you
Didn't
say
say
that?
joint deformity. I've left that
If
for
you're
you.
bowing in
I
or
left
out
the
of your
deformity
leg.
for you.
Thanks. That you might have joint deformity if your legs are bowing in or out.
Mm-hmm.
Ineffectiveness of conservative treatments.
We talked about that. That's when, like cortisone shots or the pain meds
Yeah. Okay.
don't really
Fine.
work.
All right. And then you already said reduce quality of life. I
It's the
did hear that.
First thing I said, yes. But
Well,
of
that
course,
wasn't in order then, was it?
well, it's in the order of the notes that I put together for us. But of course, you do all this in consultation with your orthopedic doctor.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
You say, you
don't
go
just
into your
listen to
orthopedic
us
guy and say,
be
Janet
like,
and Joe said.
yeah, I heard on this podcast that I should have my knee replaced. Can you do that for me? Can you fit me in today? No, we're not going to do that.
Not going to do that.
But you know what, Joe? There's also, I mean, those are indicators that you should go for it, but there are also contraindications.
There are. Yep.
Not to sound too professional there, like I actually know
I'm sure
what
you
I'm
don't sound
talking
too
about.
professional.
Oh, you are really stacking them up today.
Well,
I have my ways of getting back.
so what are some contraindications?
Active infections,
Yeah, don't do that.
those are absolute.
Mm-hmm.
Arterial disease,
Mm-hmm.
extensor mechanism dysfunction. Huh.
That's specifically for
When you can't
knee.
extend your knee out. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Those are absolute contraindications,
Right.
which mean you're definitely a no-go.
And your doctor is going to
Yeah, say
decide.
no.
You
No,
just say,
right.
well,
Mm,
not for you.
too much of a risk, right?
Mm-hmm. And then there are relative contraindications as well.
Yes, yes, they are, Joe. What are they?
We talked about maintaining good weight
Yeah,
as a way to
yeah.
extend the life of your joints, and being morbidly overweight
Being highly obese is going to be a
is
problem.
not good.
Which is why, a lot of people have to lose weight right before they can do
Sure.
operations sometimes.
Yep.
Uncontrolled medical conditions.
So you can have uncontrolled medical conditions, heart problems, kidney
Diabetes.
problems, all of
Yep.
those things, and that has a lot to do not just with this specific, this,
Any
it could be
surgery.
just any surgery going under.
Elevates the
Yeah.
risk, yeah.
A history of non-compliance. So if you think, okay,
Oh,
I'm just going to have my knee replaced and I'm not going to
and
do
then the
anything
next
different.
day I'm going to go for a
And
run.
I'm not going to do the physical therapy and I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a candidate.
Okay, interesting. And then here's one: insufficient bone stock. Inadequate bone quality
Right.
can compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets back to like what osteoporosis and osteopenia and all that good stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so doctor, those would be the reasons why we don't do it.
Now, if you do it, if you do have the surgery,
Yeah.
my two friends, among my many friends that I have,
My two friends,
that have had
my two
one had knee
imaginary
surgery,
friends.
one had hip surgery, they both are very, very happy that they did it. But
Yeah.
there was a recovery period.
Yeah, and it looks like, to your point here, that the knee recovery is definitely different than the hip
Yes.
recovery.
Yep.
But the hospital stay is 1 to 5 days. So in other
That's
words,
for
you could-
knee. And
yeah,
I know people who are in and out the same day.
for hip, it's like 1 to 2 days. You could be definitely out like by the afternoon, right? Oh my gosh, that's
Oh,
crazy. Not even an overnight stay.
my friend that had the knee surgery, in the morning,
My one friend.
my one friend among many, in and out the same day.
Yeah,
It's a day surgery thing.
that's crazy.
And same with the hip surgery.
Yep.
And almost immediately into physical therapy.
Yeah.
You've got to be disciplined about it. You
Right.
just have to be disciplined about it.
Yeah,
And-
so looking at these stats here for knee, it's 12 weeks post surgery, right?
Mhm.
Where you're pretty much done with all of the
Mm-hmm.
issues around recovery. It's 6 weeks for hip. You can pretty much engage in daily activities.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true. I mean, the first few days to, week or two, you might be walking with crutches or a walker.
yeah. But even with the knee, 4 to 6 weeks, it says we can resume daily activities: walking, driving, light household chores. Maybe not the household chores. I would wait on that. I would definitely give that more time, like maybe 6 months to a year.
Have you had knee surgery? Because
I have not.
because I've
had-
been to your house.
Excuse me. My house is tip
No,
top.
your house is in great shape. Always.
Top.
And,
Not
but
always, but
you do need to be disciplined about it. Do the things that they say go to your physical therapy, do your home exercises. My friend that had knee surgery specifically scheduled it so it would be the early recovery was in the summer. So he could be outside
Yeah.
and just enjoy the nice weather and do the walking and whatever else he needed to do outside
Right.
without having to also
Right.
deal with the weather.
Yeah. So make sure that you schedule it at the right time. Yeah. And I think, I don't know if this is as much issue as it is before, but isn't there sort of a timing consideration to like, you want it to last a certain amount of time, right? So depending on what you think your lifespan is going to be,
I don't know that that's
is that as
really.
valid
I don't think
anymore?
it is as much as it used to be because there is a Wall Street Journal article that we'll include in the show notes
Yeah.
that talks about how people in their 40s are having, uh, I think, knees, but it might be both. So they're expecting their replacement to last a good long time.
Yeah.
And
So
I think that has a lot to do with the way that whatever they're using to as a replacement is particularly attuned and designed for you. It just lasts longer. They don't wear out like they used to.
yeah. I mean, I just looked it up, and for knees, it says that it's estimated that approximately 82% of total knee replacements will last 25 years.
25 years. So if you're in your
Wow.
60s, you're doing okay.
So that's pretty good.
It's pretty
25
good.
years, and that's probably only going to get better,
It
right?
will get better, but I think we're at that critical point where, unlike the guy I had the conversation with 15 or 20 years ago who said he was putting his off waiting for the procedure to get better, I think we're past that point. I think they've gotten so much better that there's no point in delaying, hoping that the procedure improves.
Right. Yeah. Like it's probably maybe peaked.
I
Yeah.
think so. Well, the improvements are more gradual, lesser improvements over time. I think we've covered the topic, Janet, don't you?
I think we have.
I do want to talk about one thing, just general kind of housekeeping stuff.
Yes.
Over the last few months, we've been much better about including show notes in the Spotify app. So the sources
Yes.
that we use are all included as mostly as links
Yep.
in the show notes.
Right.
So if you're interested in learning more about what we're talking about, those are
Yeah,
available
those
in
links are
Spotify.
live and you can go right to the articles,
And
right?
you don't have to be a Spotify subscriber.
No, you do not. And you can listen to this podcast for free on any of your favorite platforms.
That's true.
And people, always ask me about that. So it's good to remind people.
It's free wherever you want to listen.
Yep.
Spotify is home base for us.
Yep.
That's where
But that's not necessary.
it's not, but that's where the show notes are
Yes.
located in the
Yes.
comments section. So I think we've covered it all, Janet.
Yeah, I think so too. So woohoo, hips
Yeah.
and knees.
Talk to your orthopedic guy.
Yeah.
Say you
Talk
hurt
to somebody
you hurt,
other than us.
we
No,
we
I'm
don't have
kidding.
any coupon codes or anything to
No.
give your orthopedic guy.
But yeah, don't live in pain. If you can try and either avoid issues like this going forward, just with good health.
Go back and listen to the last 20 episodes of
Yeah,
the 60 Plus
exactly.
podcast
With-
and learn about all the things that you can do to extend your life and have a better
Yes,
health
the
span.
Health span.
Health span.
Health span. Yes.
I said it first.
You did.
All right.
Okay, you
That's
get
it
credit.
for this week on the 60 Plus podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.